Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, chers participants, dear participants, it is a pleasure to welcome you back on this live with the different results from the first afternoon. Mesdames et messieurs, j'ai le plaisir de vous accueillir aujourd'hui pour discuter avec les participantes et les participants un peu des premières expériences, de leur premier retour grâce à ces différentes personnes qui vont pouvoir nous raconter un petit peu comment cela s'est passé pendant ce premier après-midi. Et dans ce cadre du Climathon, il est peut-être intéressant de rappeler que le 29 novembre prochain, les citoyennes et les citoyens suisses vont s'exprimer sur l'initiative populaire Entreprises responsables pour protéger l'être humain et l'environnement. Elle vise ainsi à imposer de nouvelles obligations légales plus strictes aux entreprises suisses qui devront en particulier vérifier que leurs filiales, fournisseurs et partenaires commerciaux respectent les droits humains et les normes environnementales et, le cas échéant, devront prendre des mesures pour remédier aux différentes infractions. Increasingly, climate change narratives from governments or companies have been scrutinized and criticized for their greenwashing, arguing that these are misleading claims about how environmentally friendly their policies are. Instead, the Climathon here is about getting our hands dirty for 24 hours in order to provide innovative and pragmatic approaches. Hence, less words, but more actions, and when push comes to shove, all the participants are doubling their efforts to deliver concrete and pragmatic solutions. So I'd like to welcome our different partners online to address their own experience through the different teams, through the different challenges, and to give it a bit of an insight and a feedback about what they are going and what they are working on. Alors peut-être d'abord pour le défi de l'aéroport, j'aimerais donner la parole à Christelle Giraud afin de nous parler un petit peu plus de comment se passe cette première partie de la journée ou de l'après-midi. Christelle, tu as la parole.
Bonsoir Julien, merci beaucoup. J'ai quelques secondes pour vous dire que les équipes se sont mises en place. On est ravis d'avoir quasiment toutes les personnes qui se sont inscrites opérationnelles dans les différentes équipes. Donc on les remercie vivement, c'est vraiment une chance de les avoir. Et en ce moment, elles sont en train encore de discuter avec les différents experts que nous leur avons mis à disposition. Et je laisse volontiers Olivier continuer un petit peu l'explication et donner un petit peu un insight de ce qui se passe au niveau des équipes.
Merci Christelle. En fait, oui, on a plus de 40 participants au défi de Genève Aéroport en ce moment. Donc, 8 équipes qui sont très actives, beaucoup d'effervescence. On voit sur le Google Drive le monde qu'ils sont en train d'imaginer pour 2050 se dessiner tranquillement, des caractéristiques humaines, environnementales, technologiques qui se créent tranquillement. Et puis, on est à la fin de la première phase. La deuxième phase va commencer dans 1 heure où là, on va vraiment demander aux participants de commencer à imaginer les personnages, l'intrigue et à créer un synopsis pour la suite. Donc, voilà.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce qu'on a également Mathieu Guillet?
Oui, je suis un participant et je représente l'équipe 2D dans ce challenge. Et donc on s'est vraiment attaché à essayer de créer un environnement pour notre narration, pour notre personnage dans lequel il pourra évoluer. On s'est demandé un petit peu comment le monde allait évoluer d'ici 2050 en matière de transport. Donc quelles seront les énergies qui seront utilisées, quels seront l'accès qui pourra être possible à ces nouveaux transports, comment est-ce que la surveillance dans les aéroports et dans les gares va évoluer. Et donc on y va, on essaye d'un peu de synthétiser toutes nos idées parce qu'on a vraiment beaucoup d'idées comme Olivier l'a dit, et ça présage tout de bon pour la suite et pour la création justement dans la phase 2 de ce personnage et de son histoire en
Magnifique, merci beaucoup. Ça, c'était pour le pôle transport. La question se pose maintenant pour le pôle éducation de la part du défi de l'UNIGE. Est-ce que Safwan Najdaoui est en ligne pour nous raconter un petit peu comment s'est passée cette première après-midi?
Oui, bonjour. Je m'appelle Safwan. Donc pour le défi de l'Université de Genève, ça se passe plutôt très bien. Nous avons deux équipes qui vont présenter, l'équipe de Valéria et l'équipe d'Yvan. Et il y a une troisième équipe dont je représente très brièvement et rapidement. L'idée se concrétise sur plutôt une révolutionnaire de pouvoir de donner la possibilité, la clé en main à la population. Et pour l'instant, nous sommes plutôt focalisés sur l'éducation, comme vous avez pu le dire, Julique. Donc, c'est plutôt des indicateurs et des métriques qui vont être mises en place. Pour l'instant, l'idée n'est pas très en place, mais ça va être plutôt donner les clés en main aux institutions, d'inciter, de pouvoir inciter les étudiants et les professeurs qui mettent en place les différents programmes pour réinventer les événements hybrides et l'éducation hybride également. Je donne la parole à Valéria pour présenter leurs idées.
Oui, on a réfléchi à propos des événements en ligne et les événements hybrides et combinés. En fait, on a parlé, la plupart, on a parlé anglais. Est-ce que je peux présenter en anglais?
Yes.
So we have focused on the fact that after the pandemic, businesses and teams are predicted to go offline again. At least partially, not fully, but partially. And we thought about ways to reduce the carbon footprint there, to incentivize them to go online. And we thought we would do that by creating a platform where a person could register, put in their home location, and this platform would calculate the distance between of the call, of the meeting, of the conference, if like how many kilometers of traveling they've saved. And for that, they will get real life benefits. For going online, they will have offline benefits of, for instance, points of vouchers to support local economy. And this will tackle both issues of environmental issues of business travel and travel for big events, as well as partially tackle the issue of isolation when it comes to online events.
Thank you very much. That was from the side of the University of Geneva. Qu'en est-il de l'Office de l'énergie? Stéphane Masseret, vous avez la parole.
Alors, le défi a bien commencé. C'est un événement très enrichissant pour tout le monde, y compris l'organisation. Je remercie d'ailleurs tous les experts qui actuellement participent encore à aider et puis encourager les équipes. Mis à part quelques petites complications logistiques du online, que je pense qu'on attend tous, et le sujet numéro 1 sera très intéressant pour le futur des collaborations à distance. Nous avons des gens très motivés qui se déroulent très bien. Et j'en profite, je vais passer la parole à Aurore Corredora qui va nous partager son expérience. Aurore, tu as la parole.
Avec le micro, c'est mieux. Bonjour. Enchantée. Donc moi, c'est mon premier climathon. Donc j'expérimente totalement hein, à distance. Et pour l'instant, ça se passe très bien. On est une petite équipe avec qui on interagit énormément. On a fait appel aussi à des experts et c'est très, très intéressant et très enrichissant. Voilà. Après, je ne sais pas trop quoi vous dire de plus par rapport à ce qu'on est en train de réaliser.
Merci pour votre
retour. Maybe for our English speakers that are following us on the different platforms, can I kindly ask the facilitators to tell us a little bit more about how this transition from maybe physical to virtual has been dealt with first afternoon in here, the new Climathon version online. So from the side of the airport of Geneva, Christelle, would you like to add something?
Voilà. Alors, vous m'entendez? Très bien. Alors oui, là maintenant, nous sommes en train de terminer la phase 1. Donc, pour ce qui est de la co-création de récits, les participants auront imaginé déjà un monde en 2050 avec quelques personnages, une vision un petit peu globale de ce que ça sera. Vers 19h, on va les contacter pour leur proposer de faire un petit débrief de cette phase 1 et introduire justement la phase 2 pour la soirée. Et donc, pour les suivre avec diligence et gratitude, parce qu'on est ravis qu'ils soient là au Climathon et qu'ils nous accompagnent aussi pendant ces 24 heures.
Thank you very much. Safwan, from your side at the university, how is the temperature right now? What are you doing?
So now we are finalizing also the phase 1 to transition to phase 2. It's very interesting to see the ideas that are being presented in terms of education, which is an institution that's faced post-COVID-19. Many universities have launched different initiatives to tackle difficulties of e-learning. So it's really interesting in linking that to the climate also with the post-pandemic. So we kind of have two outcomes in the same time. And I'm really interested in seeing the outcomes that will be delivered with the first submission in half an hour.
Thank you very much, Safwan. Stéphane, from the side of the federal office, how does that challenge look like now?
Alors, nous allons aussi arriver à la fin de la phase 1. On vient de finir, enfin les participants viennent de finir les réunions avec leurs experts. Donc là, c'est la partie gros travail qui va commencer, c'est générer une idée durant les prochaines heures et pendant la nuit. Et on se réjouit de voir la suite de ce qu'ils vont préparer et nous innover.
Thank you very much. That was from the side of the facilitators. I'm quite curious to know, how is it from the participants' side? Anyone who would like to share a little bit more about how this first afternoon has been, about the team motivation, how it's been to use those different tools online? From the airport side?
Fortunately, Mathieu had to leave, so I'm not a participant, so maybe I can briefly speak about the experience that I know they're facing now. I think one of the challenges right now, because we are working remotely, is that the communication is, I guess, a bit harder than when we are in person. But I think things have been improving quite nicely in the last 2 hours, so to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivier. What about from the university side? How is it on your end? Is Ivan still here?
Yeah, things are going very well. We had a good discussion today, and we have participants from different background, from teacher to students in computer science. We have good progress with the brainstorming. We are defining what are the next steps. So a part will be a reflection group, and on the other hand, we have for like developing a small prototype about virtual reality classes to improve lessons when for remote lessons. Sorry.
Maybe as much as you want. Just to tell a little bit our viewers or the other participants, how is now the mood and the maybe obstacles or challenges you had to face during this first phase of the afternoon?
Yeah, so difficulties due to the remote collaboration, so it's a bit more difficult to try to be all together, but after when the things are starting to be working now, it's fine. And one of the goals of our project is especially this, how to improve the collaboration remotely using new technology. So we are facing the problem that we want to solve in the project.
Thank you very much. Is Valeria still around?
She have left the conversation, as I have been told, Julik.
Okay, no problem. Anyone else would like to add something about the first experience and how you've been experiencing this first afternoon through remote collaboration, the different tools? How is that working on your end?
Sure, I can jump on. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
I am in the group of Valeria. My name is Diana. So the challenges that we had is more about, the tool is about, I used Zoom to handle the discussion with others. And sometimes there were breakdowns of some discussions. And so I think internet, the Wi-Fi is very important when we use that kind of stuff. And sometimes you don't have a great connection and then you miss some points. So we need to repeat or to wait for the others. That's the main challenge that we had. But in terms of exchange, it was very wonderful. We were able to share screens to type on the same Google form at the same time. So it was very easy, I mean, for us at least. And in terms of attitude, it was very great because everyone listened to each other and we try to engage everyone, and we split the speaking time and also the task very easily. So there were no main issue about this.
And Julik, I think also it's the perfect environment for the University of Geneva challenge, organizing the Climathon online and experiencing the same issues and difficulties and experience positives, hopefully will be reflected on the outcomes of the projects. Thank you.
Thank you both, Diana. I think indeed, as I said in my introduction, it's not only about the theory, it's about getting the hands dirty and to see how we can process this new information, this new context, and how we can navigate this new virtual waters. The irony maybe behind this Climathon is that we, of course, are physically separated, but we're more connected than ever. And this is probably also new challenges, but new opportunities. I think it's quite fascinating to see how resourceful each and everyone is, and that we need to overcome some of the obstacles sometimes. We don't always have the solutions, but there is a wealth of creativity that is at hand here, so that everyone can strive, can make different efforts to provide then the best solutions, and even the ones that no one thought about before. Which maybe leads me to my last question. Now you have been through the first phase this afternoon, and we know it's only a quarter of the whole Climathon. How are you guys planning to address now the next day and a half left? What are the plans for tonight? How are you going to handle the different rhythms between the different teams? Celles et ceux qui souhaitent répondre en français, peuvent le faire également, peut-être du côté de l'aéroport. Comment est-ce que vont se passer les prochaines heures pour la coordination, la réflexion? Christelle, peut-être?
Christelle, peut-être?
Je vais me permettre de répondre
Ou Olivier?
Pardon. Je vais me permettre de répondre. En fait, comme je disais, on commence la deuxième phase à 19 heures sur le storyboard et on va avoir un meeting d'équipe avec tous nos participants pour les engager dans cette nouvelle phase-là. Et à chaque début de phase, la troisième, quatrième, on va avoir ces mêmes meetings-là par Zoom, évidemment. Donc, on va pouvoir les tenir au jus des avancements et de ce qu'on attend d'eux. Et nous, on est en contact constant avec eux par Slack jusqu'à demain. Voilà.
Christelle, tu aimerais rajouter quelque chose?
Et pas nécessairement. Je crois que justement, on a la chance d'avoir différentes phases de travail. Et donc ça nous aide, nous, les facilitateurs, mais surtout les participants, à évoluer dans leur récit. Comme je le disais en préambule, la cérémonie d'ouverture, c'est la première fois qu'on organise un Climathon 100% en ligne. Et c'est un sacré challenge. Donc, le grand défi sera de garder tous les participants en ligne ensemble et de pouvoir avancer ensemble, de les accompagner ensemble pour des idées, des projets, des récits co-créés à distance. Mais tu le disais, Julien, on est plus soudés que jamais, malgré la distance, et c'est vraiment une expérience enrichissante.
Merci beaucoup à tous les deux. Comment ça se passe de côté de l'UNIGE? Comment est-ce qu'on envisage ces prochaines heures pleines de suspense, j'imagine aussi? Comment est-ce que vont se passer les tournus entre les différentes équipes, les différents facilitateurs, les différents coachs, les experts? Safwan, est-ce que tu aimerais nous donner quelques éclairages par rapport à votre organisation?
Oui, donc nous attendons avec impatience la séance de bachata qui aura lieu pour pouvoir changer un peu l'idée de réflexion un peu et bouger le son et bouger les idées en même temps, j'espère. Donc, nous sommes prêts pour les prochaines phases. L'équipe est là en permanence. Et puis voilà, nous attendons avec impatience le cours de bachata, comme j'ai dit, pour faire circuler les sons et les idées encore une fois.
Fantastique, je me réjouis aussi. Diana, are you going to dance the bachata as well?
If Diana is still in line.
I don't think I'm going to. Or yeah, I footprint, but yeah, I stay connected with my team and taking fresh air in order to think bigger, be more creative, and find solution for that. And we are planning together, and I think we are a great team, and we move together towards a direction and the same one. So it's great.
Where are you physically now?
Physically, I'm in Le Tree, and I'm going to Valais.
Fantastic. And so how are you planning with your team to organize the rest of the night, I would say, at least for the evening and then the night ahead?
So we didn't really talk about this, and we are young and really connected. So on Slack and also on Zoom, and I think we will create also a WhatsApp group, and everyone will work. We will, I think, define tasks and put maybe accountability partners when one is out and another take over or whatever, and then mix match together. There are plenty of ideas, so we'll find.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to the two of you.
Comment du côté de l'OFEN, au niveau de la coordination de ces prochaines heures, de ces prochaines phases d'une nuit qui s'annonce palpitante? Stéphane?
Chargé à bloc, plein d'énergie. On a une rotation qui va se faire au niveau des facilitateurs pour garder un suivi accompagné tout au long des participants. Comme vous voyez, il y a aussi des médias qui se baladent par ici. Sinon, la nuit, accompagner les équipes les prochaines heures, faire des petites rectifications par rapport aux derniers imprévus qu'on a eus. Et sinon, comme le disent les autres gens, on a franchement des super participants, très débrouillés, très motivés. Donc, j'ai aucun souci là-dessus. Je leur fais entièrement confiance et je me réjouis de faire le point dans quelques minutes avec eux.
Je me réjouis aussi de vous suivre. Là, vous, physiquement, vous êtes de quel côté?
Alors, nous, comme vous aurez remarqué, il y a des personnes qui passent au même moment vers Olivier, et Christelle et moi. Nous sommes à Impact Genève, avec des facilitateurs.
Magnifique. Ça fait plaisir de vous voir si nombreuses et nombreux à différents endroits de la Suisse romande. C'est un climathon aujourd'hui qui s'organise, disons, depuis Genève, mais qui a
dans toute la Romandie et ailleurs grâce aussi au virtuel. C'est peut-être un des avantages. But of course, today it's not only about Geneva. Climate change affects us all on different levels, at different timings as well. And this is also why the Accelerate2030 program has been co-initiated by the Impact Hub Geneva and the UNDP with a mission to scale internationally the impact of young entrepreneurs working towards achieving positive social and environmental change contributing to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So all these climate change and all the participants that are following us have now the pleasure and the privilege to have a direct interaction with Lyubka Mitrinovska, the co-founder and program manager of Accelerate2030, who has just joined us now, and that will expand a little bit the experience to other corners of our planet. I would like to welcome Lyubka to our discussion. I'm so happy to have you on board, Lyubka, to discuss the SDGs, to discuss this amazing program that has been launched by the Impact Hub Geneva and the UNDP. Could you tell us maybe a little bit more about your presence here tonight, about how this is intimately connected to the whole Climathon program and, of course, with the environment?
Thank you so much, Julik, for the really nice introduction and for the invitation for us from Accelerate2030 to take part in the Climathon. I've been following the session since the morning, and it's been a really exciting day. So we thought that our contribution to the program today and to the Climathon would be to share a little bit of inspiration coming from around the world. And as you already so kindly introduced the program, it's looking at entrepreneurs who are already generating impact towards the Sustainable Development Goals, have been doing some work already successfully, and are scaling their solutions. So offering a little bit of inspiration of what is coming down the road for those that decide to take the entrepreneurial route after this Climathon. And I have the great pleasure to be joined today by two of our entrepreneurs from the latest global cohort. So we have Mahamud Fauzal Rizki from Sampangan from Indonesia, and we have Mauricio Schneider from Solubio from Brazil. Just to give a bit more context, you very well presented the program. So the mission of Accelerate2030 is to scale the impact of entrepreneurs that contribute towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And the two entrepreneurs that are joining us today have been selected in the latest cohort out of more than 1,000 applications that we got from across the world. So we've really had the pleasure and honor to be working with them over the last year to see how we can best support their scaling efforts. So without further ado, I would actually kind of open the floor and have us hear a little bit from them and soak up some inspiration for the participants. So maybe I would give the floor, Faisal, first to you. Sampangan is a waste to carbon tech company which sustainably processes and decomposes all types of hard waste. And turns them into organic output such as carbon, steam, and others. And I have to pick at my paper here because I'm not the tech expert. But we're all super amazed by the magic technology. And maybe just quickly, before jumping into the solution and what you guys are doing, a little bit around what was the personal motivation and what personally drives you to do the work that you're doing, Faisal.
Thank you, Luca. Hi, everybody. Fauzal here from Jakarta. It's here now at 12:30 midnight, but happy to be here to join everybody. Maybe to the question, I actually started out pretty self-centric, if I may say, because the main motivation that I started this is actually to support my dad, who is the inventor and scientist behind the technology that we have in Sampangan. And my only reason is really to make sure that his technology, which actually is really amazing, solving big problems such as waste, agriculture, energy, and so many more, to be implemented all over the world. So that's why I decided to jump in. I quit my job in a fintech company and previously in corporates and tried to focus 100% in this social venture. But then that changes when I first saw the landfills, mountain of landfill, literally like a mountain of trash. And that's when I realized that the problem is real, and like we really need to do something to solve the waste crisis. And apparently it's not just in Indonesia, but also all over the world. And then 6 months ago, my daughter was born. And then that's when I realized no longer about me, it's no longer about us, it's about next generation. How can we build the better world for the next generation? So maybe that in short, Luca.
Thank you so much, Faisal. Inspiring as always. We will get back to hear a little bit more about Sampangan's technology and what you guys are actually doing on the ground. But maybe before that, Mauricio, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And Faisal, thank you so much. I forgot to mention that we're in a totally different zone, and this is after midnight that you're actually taking the time to join us here. Mauricio, how about you? What would you say was the driver for you personally to start doing the work that you're doing with Solubio, whose mission is to actually eliminate the use of pesticides in agriculture, using enabling farmers to use biofungicide, biopesticide, among other products. But you will tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So guys, actually my parents, they were farmers. So, and the issue, I think globally is how to make agriculture affordable. Because, you know, I've been working with farmers and doing agriculture for a long time. And the problem is always the same. You have a very costly structure, high costs, a few players. And first I thought, okay, then I should be doing something to get the whole ecosystem in terms of being a farmer better. And I was a consultant, but then there was no way to scale the impact. And in between, I joined, for example, ISAC, which is a global organization, it's an organization that promotes, you know, a lot of leadership development and so on. And then I was thinking, okay, how can I scale my impact? And then I was thinking, okay, I should try something. And after being 10 years as a consultant around the agribusiness, I just found this project that was a really tiny project in a consultants company. And then I thought, okay, that's something that could be really big, but we need to change everything here. And then I was, okay, I think now I found my motivation and my purpose. And yeah, and after 4 years, we've been, you know, I'm gonna share a little bit more. But that's basically my motivation, is how to make agriculture affordable and for sure more sustainable.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. And it's really great to see how your paths progressed from actually doing different careers and going into something that is driven by a purpose and impact, which I'm sure a lot of the participants will identify with. But maybe just going a little bit deeper into the solutions that you've developed, Faisal, if you would like to share a bit more about Sampangan's technology, what is the solution you've designed, and what is the impact that you're currently seeing, some of the success stories maybe so far?
Noted. Thanks for the question, Luca. So what we do is basically we created a technology that we call the magic box. So what this magic box do is basically to convert any kinds of waste, organic and inorganic, without the need to be sorted, without the need to be pre-processed, and we can convert them into valuable products that can be used back into circular economy. So the products are, for example, activated carbon, biodisinfectant, and so many more. So we use this in like multiple use cases. For example, in agriculture, we use activated carbon to increase the yield for the farmers and reduce their risk, hence increasing the farmers' income and converting them into from traditional farmers into organic farmers, which is more sustainable. Second one of the products we use in healthcare to sanitize public spaces. So we've delivered across like 500,000 liters of biodisinfectant for the city to sanitize the public spaces, especially during the COVID-19 crisis. And recently, what we're working now is that to create a new building material and new building systems for low-cost housing. So reducing the cost of production as well as providing a safe and affordable homes for the masses, while at the same time reducing carbon footprint from existing materials such as steel, cement, concrete that actually have a very high carbon footprint. So those are some of the things that we do and the impact that's created. But so far, we've been operating for like around 5 years, and we've processed over like roughly around 100,000 tons of waste. And we've captured over 500,000 tons of carbon dioxide that we converted back into activated carbon, and we use in these multiple industrial circular economy use cases. So maybe that's the things that we're currently doing, Luca.
That's super impressive. Every time you share about the work you do and the impact you're generating, it's a real example of how also circular economy models work and could work. And also how you pivoted during the crisis and actually used some of the products to address healthcare needs. That's really great. Before we turn back to Mauricio and Solubio, I'm sure we can take some questions if there are on the side, and colleagues might channel if some are popping up from other channels. Yes, Mauricio, can you tell us a bit more about the solutions that Solubio is developing?
Sure. So we developed a technology for farmers to produce their own biopesticide on farm, on site, and with that they're able to not only reduce the usage of chemical pesticides, but also replace. So today we have a lot of clients or farmers that are running 100% with biological solutions. We used to compare our business model with the Nespresso without the wasting, right? Just explaining myself, because every time I compare with Nespresso, everybody thinks about the coffee pads, but we don't have that. But I mean the business model itself. So we provide farmers with a laboratory. Inside this laboratory, you have the biofactories, and then we have the capsules, which basically is microorganisms, bacteria and fungus, and then we give them the whole consultants, so they are able to produce themselves biopesticides, and then and they are able also not only to use everything in terms of biological pesticides, but also they are saving a lot of money. So they're saving up to there are some big clients reporting 75% of cost reduction in terms of pesticides. And we are reaching now in Brazil basically 2 million hectares. And we serve farmers from 10 hectares to 500,000. So basically, we're covering almost every type of farmers, but also crops, from fruits to cereals, and that's the good thing. We're growing like doubling, tripling every year, and our clients, they start using, for example, 100 liters per hectare, and then 200, and then 300. They're using even more now. They are getting the soil and the environment more balanced, and also they are reporting a whole, balancing the ecosystem itself. What else about our technology? That's very important. So last year, in 2020, we produced more than 6 million liters of biopesticides on farm. And that means that we've taken away something around 10 million liters of pesticides, chemical pesticides from the environment. Yeah, it's pretty much this. And we are expanding now to Paraguay, and also we were expanding to Europe, to Italy, but then we have the COVID-19 that we're giving a break now. That's pretty much Solubil today.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mauricio. Maybe a little bit, if you can share how this diminished use in pesticides is like the connection with the climate action that we're discussing today, and how this the work that you're doing is contributing towards.
And that's pretty interesting. So I think the relation I can make with the climate change and so on is basically when you talk about CO2 emission. So if you compare what type of emission or how big is the emission from a chemical pesticide, or even for a biological pesticide, but in an industrial way, it's much more than what we do on farm. So we are actually reducing the emission only comparing one industry with another, but also when you think about increasing the amount of a biopesticide on the soil, you actually are capturing more CO2. And that's something, and when we combine this, it's a lot of CO2 reduction in terms of emission. We are right now cooperating with a couple of top universities in Brazil to have a final report on that, and a very scientific measure of the CO2 reduction. There is another challenge. If you see globally, we need to increase the production of food in 30% in the next 8 years. And the way most of the countries are doing, actually, they are increasing the amount of land used for agriculture. And that's also something that Brazil is facing a lot of issues. I'm pretty sure you have heard about. And with our solution, actually, and that the profile that we have as a client, our clients, instead of making or running for the deforestation, actually they are trying to increase yield, having our technology, having a more sustainable way of producing food. So that's pretty much the biggest impact we can make. But if you, we don't have time, but if I share with you our theory of change, you can see much more than that. I'm just giving you like the two main KPIs in terms of climate change, but there is a lot of side effects from, for example, pollution of water and so on and so forth.
Yes, definitely. And actually the way you presented this, and how the different puzzles come together, just show that we can't just say that we're only tackling climate, or that we can look into the different topics in isolation. We have all the little nice icons behind me of the SDGs. Basically, when you start talking about climate action, it's interrelated with so many of the others. And if you talk about increasing food production and what that entails, and how your solution can actually satisfy these usually competing aims of increasing production, but decreasing the land use. And Brazil being a really interesting case study of that, it's really interesting and inspiring to see that it's possible, because usually the struggle is, can we pursue the two goals at the same time? So talking about these battles of actually building a purpose-driven company and scaling impactful solutions, what would you say is needed to scale from like an idea, from a prototype, to actually build a company and be able to scale the solution to the context where it's needed? What would you say? What would be kind of a little bit of your advice to aspiring entrepreneurs that maybe are developing solutions now and are looking to scale them?
So I have a very strong opinion on that. I really believe in business models. I think if you have an idea, I think, okay, it's fine if you think your idea is going to generate a lot of impact, but that's not going to become impact if it doesn't make any financial sense. So I believe that startups and projects, they need to be break even since the first 6 months. Otherwise, you will depend on a lot of things, funds and fundraising and selling something that it's not your core, just to generate cash flow and so on. So when we thought about Solubil, we became break even in the first 6 months. And for example, just to have an idea, when you have the the right products and the right needs and the right target, you can grow very fast and being sustainable in terms of financial sustainable. So we are totally bootstrapped so far. We grew from something around $100,000 in 2016 to more than $14 million in 2020. And we already, we are closing our sales for 2021 and we're going to double again. So, and that's pretty much the business model itself, because when you see the biopesticide market, it's always the same. So they have a box, they have the products inside with a lot of water. The distribution channels are crazy. They put a lot of money in the middle, and then the product gets to the farmer really expensive. And then farmer think, okay, if I need to use a chemical solution and a biological solution that I still don't know how to use, and the cost is the same, which one would you pick? In the end of the day, the farmer there, okay, sustainability and so on, but he picks the chemical one. But when I get there and then I say, man, it's 7 times less, and it works. And you see these big guys here, they are using that and it's working. Then you just go wild, Today, what we manage is not sales, but actually the whole infrastructure to that. For example, we are creating now a new production plant, building a new production plant 8 times bigger than the one we have now, to being able to, our backlog today, it's insane. We have, for example, 100 clients waiting to have our solution. So waiting for laboratories and biofactories and so on. So in the end of the day, I believe a lot in our business model. And that's really, that's funny. On the way, we have a lot of, different offers saying, oh, why don't you do this and that and that? Why don't you sell in boxes so you're going to make a lot of money, much more money than what we are doing now, we're making now? And then I was saying, man, it's not the short run, it's the long run. In the short run, we are fine. We are already, financial sustainable. And in the long run, that's what we believe. And we want to bring our technology for the whole world. Then it's about business model and break even.
Very good. I think those are very applicable advices. And maybe as a follow-up, we can do a business model session for the participants moving forward with their solutions. Faisal, what would you say from your experience defines successful scaling?
I totally agree with Mauricio, definitely, because, but that perspective maybe come from Mauricio because he's an experienced entrepreneur, right? But for people that is mostly just younger and just starting out, like even the thought of like understanding unit economics, having a proper P&L. It's super difficult. Like for me personally, even coming from banking background, like I just learned this stuff the past 2 years. But on top of the point of really understanding the business model and your budgeting and P&L, but what's most important is actually adaptability. So in the context of uh, when we started off, we actually fall to the trap of, we have this really cool technology, and then we try to, go talk to everybody about how our technology is like super cool, but then it doesn't work that way. So we need to really understand what are the actual needs of our paying clients, and we in our context, like building solutions for climate, for agriculture, for waste, we're actually doing it in a even more harder difficulty, because normally people just like do whatever you can to make profit, right? You don't really need to care about the environment or the impact or whatever, just make money, right? But we're adding an additional layer of difficulty, in which of not just that you need to be profitable, you need to also be able to create positive impact to the environment, to the community, right? So we need to really understand to differentiate who is our beneficiary and who is the client. So sometimes it's separate, sometimes it's the same person, right? And having the clarity on what value are we providing who is very important. Not just about selling, but also crafting the right messaging at the right priorities. For example, our technology can do 1, 2, 3, and 10 things, right? But when we talk to person A, what is important for them is only point 1, 2, and 5. And we talk to person B, apparently what's important for them is point 8, 9, 10, right? But the mistakes that happens most of the time is like whenever we talk to everybody, we talk about everything, which is actually not always relevant. So we wasted a lot of time and a lot of deals that was lost because of that mentality. So and then the second point on adaptability is understanding like what opportunities that comes. So in the context of Sampangan, for example, we started off with waste processing as a service, but then we realized during the COVID-19, the crisis that we had earlier this year and until now, there's actually a need for a biodisinfectant. And then we realized, hey, we can actually create biodisinfectant from our processes. So we took the opportunity and then try to talk to multiple people. And that actually is one of the biggest driving factors so far for us to grow from just a $90,000 business last year to almost 600,000 business this year. And we haven't even ended yet. So that's the point of adaptability. And the third one is actually probably just go out there and do it. So because most of the time we might to overthink a lot of things, make the perfect business model canvas, etc., etc. But what's most important is really to just go out there, talk to the customers, get their feedback, and reiterate back. And lastly, I think, which is the most important, is join Impact Hub Network. Because Impact Hub are organization that supports entrepreneurs like you and like me, right? And there's actually a lot of opportunity, a lot of resources that can help you to either start up or scale up. And I think in like scaling up our business. So yeah, find your nearest Impact Hub and say hi to them.
I just would like to add a point, for example, which it's not running yet, but we just had an agreement with Sampagan last year. So we are bringing Sampagan technology as a joint venture with Solubio in Brazil. We are just waiting the COVID-19 problem, but we have clients already here asking for the solution. So it's amazing when you get together with amazing people with a purpose, and then you can just discuss a lot of things. And partnerships are really cool things that we found last year in the Accelerate2030 program.
That's awesome. I couldn't have thought of a better way to kind of finalize this session. I was just checking if there are any questions. You guys already made a call to action on behalf of the Impact Hub Network and Accelerate 2030. I'm checking quickly with colleagues if there are any questions coming from the audience. I can't see the live stream at the moment on Facebook and see if there are questions. I saw a thank you note from some of the participants. Yes, maybe this was really great. Thank you so much for the inspiration. Maybe just a closing message. You guys shared a lot of business advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, but knowing that we really need to gear up towards climate action and that it affects the whole planet, all our lives, and vice versa, we all affected. What would be your message to any business out there that think that they maybe don't have a role to play, or that they can't play a role, or that it's really difficult to bring together the profit and the purpose and impact objectives that you also spoke quickly about? What would be a message to business, and what is the future of business thinking about these grand challenges we have as humanity?
Oh, I think COVID-19 brought a really amazing opportunity for all entrepreneurs, because if you see a lot of, we were forced to think about more sustainable businesses, and we have the whole ESG type of, investment funds and people talking about, and that's the best moment that we could have to think about impactful ventures. So I really believe that's the way to go. And another thing is, if it doesn't matter how big you're dreaming, or if you're starting really tiny and in your community, if you really believe in your business, you just go there. And maybe what Faisal said, man, just go and do it. I'm pretty sure that if you have the right people, the right mindset, and things will start happening. It's a move, It's you just go doing good things, and then partners come and ideas and clients and so on. And when you see after 1 year everything is happening, that's exactly what happened with Solobi. It's pretty much this. We were not, when we talked today, and that was 4 years ago, when you think about where we are today, nobody in the company imagined we would be as we are now. And it's amazing. And every day comes a new partner, a new solution, a new, opportunity. And then, oh my God, it's amazing. It's insane. So that's the best moment ever to think about impactful ventures.
Thank you, Mauricio. Any closing words, Faisal?
Yeah, as always, I'm always aligned with Mauricio. It's amazing how we can read each other's mind. But really, no action is too small. Whatever it is that you're doing that you think can help in reversing climate change, it will contribute into something, no matter how small. We need millions of people doing small things than one person doing a perfect thing, right? So and there's actually a lot of opportunities that can actually be addressed. And as Mauricio said, COVID-19 sort of accelerates the whole thing. For example, the pursuit of new materials, right? There's a lot of things that can be done now, and a lot of technology that is already readily available that we just need to find the right implementation and business model for a lot of things. For example, in our case, construction, a low carbon footprint construction for houses, for example. There's a lot of needs for e-commerce packaging, right? And plastic alternatives for containers, and a lot of other things. Not just about product, but also maybe about processes. How can we enable a more efficient reverse logistics that can help to reduce the footprint for the transportation and logistics, for example? And there's actually just so many interesting and very profitable potential businesses that we can actually look into if we look for the right problem and the right opportunity. So yeah, exciting times. And I believe if we really put our heads in together, not in a competitive way, but really to collaborate, like the ideas, because you never know how like everything's connected, right? Like I would never even have even imagined that our technology might be even be applicable in Brazil, like with Solubio, with Mauricio, right? So they invited us over last February. Like we were mind blown how advanced agriculture is in Brazil, and we're constantly thinking how we can bring the Brazil technology over to Indonesia. So yeah, Mauricio, maybe it's not just us going to Brazil, but maybe you guys are coming to Indonesia also. So yeah, collaborate. You never know like what kind of ideas, inspiration, business model, or even partnership that will come when you actually approach some other person to discuss about things. So yeah, like no matter how small, start now.
Thank you so much. So we're ending on the message to start, do something, everything matters, and collaboration being super important. On that note, I would thank you once again so much for joining the Climathon in Geneva, for sharing your personal and business stories of inspiration. And yes, hope to have you again in one of our events. With that, I will hand it over to Julik to close this part of the Climathon. Thank you once again, and have a nice day and evening, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ljubka. Thank you also to Fauzal and Mauricio, especially because you are physically in 2 different time zones, which puts us in a 3rd time zone, and we must have about 18 different hours of difference. But thanks to your insights, we have seen how SDGs and climate are intrinsically connected. Now we are having more than 130 participants brainstorming on our Climathon for the next couple of days to find inspiring solutions, and I'm pretty convinced that thanks to your expertise, they will find new insights. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development has been adopted by the UN member states in 2015. And as Ljubka mentioned, they provide a blueprint for the 4 Ps: peace, prosperity, people, and the planet. And as Ljubka, I can see you in the Impact Hub Lausanne with the 17 SDGs, which are literally the heart of the 2030 Agenda. I'm thinking that we are today the 13th of November, which is number 13's climate action. It's the SDGs 13, but we also think about SDG 14, life below water, for instance, or SDG number 15, life on land. But it's not only about nature and climate, it's also, if we think about climate education or quality education, or SDG number 7, affordable and clean energy, or even, of course, number 11, sustainable cities and communities. So as the Accelerate 2030 program has impacted more than 600,000 end users with their different innovative solutions for the SDGs, we know how this is important to support also through the different solutions that will be provided by our participants through the different challenges that they're facing now. So I want to thank you, Ljubka, for bringing all this international aspect also to our Climathon here in Geneva and in Suisse romande. I'm thinking, of course, now about the words that Margaret Mead, the American anthropologist, said, that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So I would like to end our session tonight, first of all, by thanking each and every one of you, not only the participants, but also all the panelists, all the speakers, all the different facilitators, the whole team that has made it possible. Peut-être juste pour terminer en français, quelques mots de remerciement à toutes et à tous. Ça a été un grand plaisir de partager cette séance avec vous. Je me réjouis de vous retrouver au cours des prochaines heures. Nous avons encore un beau programme devant nous. N'oubliez pas la bachata à 10h ce soir. And from Geneva and the Climathon, I really would like to thank you all. Say good luck to each and every one of you, and goodbye. See you soon.